Hi, this is with regard to your question whether sunscreens are still useful or beneficial in some respect. And I tend to negate that. Sunscreens have notoriously been shown to create problems, not just to the skin but to the rest of the body. Mind you that most of the sunscreens that exist are synthetically produced chemicals that have carcinogenic effects. So it's not just that you put this stuff on the skin, but it goes actually into your blood. And once it's carried to the liver, a lot of strong reactions can occur that can lead to bile duct congestion and then poor blood circulation to the skin itself, which can weaken it and make it in fact prone to injury against from ultraviolet radiation, particularly UVA rays. Now, sunscreens don't always work the way they are designed to work. Many times you have areas in the skin that are not completely covered, and even if the sunscreens block out UVA and UVB, there will be still areas where UVA penetration is coming through, goes very, very deeply. Once you block UVB with sunscreens, UVA goes so much deeper than it is normally possible, and that can create damage to skin cells. There has been no proof, however, that UVA can destroy or can damage the genes directly. In fact, the opposite is true. It has been proven that sunlight UV radiation cannot cause genetic mutation leading to skin cancers. So there's a lot of misconception in this field, and I want to clarify as well that in places where sunscreens are used on a mandatory basis, like in a town, for example, in Australia, where every single person is putting sunscreens on their skin, and they have the highest skin cancer rates in the world. And places where sunscreens are not used at all, you go, for example, to places in Italy where Italians, they just don't even know about sunscreens. They don't put it on, lather it on their skin, and they have virtually no skin cancers in those areas. Also near the equator, in Caribbean countries, people living there rarely, if ever, have skin cancers. Besides, skin cancers occur to the most extent in areas of the skin that are never even exposed to the sun. So that cannot be explained away by saying, well, we're using sunscreens. Most people don't put it under the arms or in the buttocks area or in places where they're covered up by swimsuits anyway. So the idea that the sun causes skin cancer is so unscientific. It has nothing to do with the reality of the matter. And there is no scientific proof as yet to show, after so many years of trying to, that the sun causes skin cancer. On the other hand, there is research to show that indirectly sunglasses, having sunshades on the eyes, can contribute to skin cancers. And how does that happen? Well, there is a powerful hormone in the brain that responds to light. And so when you put sunshades on the glasses and you're out in the nature and the sun does shine, your body doesn't recognize that it is light outside, and it will stop the production of melanin, which is the natural sunscreen of the body. And if the melanin is not produced sufficiently, then the UVA rays and UVB, which are responsible, the latter are responsible for sunburn if you get overexposed, then you can develop damage to the skin. So again, one has to look at what is natural and what isn't. Sunglasses are not natural. If we had a need for them, we would have been born with sunshades on our eyes, in the lens of our eyes. But we are not supposed to do that. We are supposed to trigger the production of melanin as soon as we are exposed to the sun, and that protects our skin against any potential harm from the sun. There are some body types that are prevalent in countries like Sweden, Denmark, Norway, very, very light skin color, reddish skin tones. They're called pitta types. They're the most prone to the heat and any form of heat that includes the heat from the sun are the pitta types, and I've discussed that in great detail in my book Heal Yourself with Sunlight, and also in Timeless Secrets of Health and Rejuvenation, which discusses the different body types. And the pitta body type is the only one that has to be more careful about going into the sun for various reasons, and one of which is to not overheat. Very important for the pitta type. He needs to be more in cool places. They still benefit being out in nature and exposing the skin indirectly to the sun. There's still ultraviolet radiation even in the shade, but for them it's very important to do that as well. Having said that, because otherwise they don't develop vitamin D production, which is, by the way, the hormone that regulates, steroid hormone that regulates numerous functions in the body. It controls thousands of genes, and it is also responsible for making sure that skin cancer doesn't occur. The imbalance that many people experience when they do get exposed to the sun and get skin damage or reddening or burning, it is more likely because of an acid-forming diet and lifestyle, eating fats, for example, that are derived from fried foods, refined foods, hydrogenated vegetable oils, particularly, are damaging to the skin. And once ultraviolet radiation combines with these trans fatty acids that are in the skin membranes, then there can be a very strong reaction, basically a reaction to get rid of some of these fatty acids, which, as they make their way out through the skin, can cause damage or healing reactions, which are known to be skin problems. So the skin problem or the eruption or even the skin cancer is not really a disease, it's a corrective mechanism, and it's important to differentiate between a disease and a healing response. So when the body is trying to get rid of the carcinogenic chemicals contained in sunscreen, then that is a natural, normal reaction. The skin tries to shed these poisonous chemicals that cause inflammation of skin cells. So having said that, there's just something that came in the news this morning, that professors of dermatology now even recommend that people put the sunscreen on before they go to bed in the evening, or even a month before they plan to go out in the sun, which is horrific, because putting these deadly chemicals, if they were ingested through the food, the person would become poisoned. But it is irresponsible to make people and young children that absorb those poisons even faster through the skin. The skin can absorb so many chemicals that normally couldn't cause as much damage as if you ingested them with your food. So it's very, very risky advice to tell people they need to use sunscreen. There are some oils that have protective effects, like coconut oil. It's much preferable than any of the UV blocking chemicals found in sunscreen. Thank you.